In what may be seen as a direct attempt to influence the outcome of the BBI case in the Court of Appeal, President Uhuru Kenyatta has today launched a scathing attack on the judiciary, sharply criticizing the 2017 nullification of presidential election results by the Supreme Court. The president's blistering attack on the judiciary comes on the eve of a critical management conference on Wednesday on that BBI case. Speaking in the presence of newly installed Chief Justice Martha Koome, President Uhuru Kenyatta blasted the judiciary for delivering rulings that were costly to the nation. As if already prosecuting his appeal on the BBI case in public, the president also warned that failure to amend the constitution would spell doom to the economy, with an estimated loss of 30% of the national budget every 5 years. Sam Ogina now reports.
President Uhuru Kenyatta used the 58th Madaraka Day celebrations in Kisumu to initiate what he termed as a national conversation on decisions made by the judiciary on critical national matters. With Chief Justice Martha Koome in her first national celebrations as the head of the country's judiciary watching the head of state tow into the third arm of government.
From the nullification of a presidential election in 2017 to an attempt to stop the will of the people as expressed through the BBI, the judiciary has indeed tested our constitutional limits.
The president's sentiments coming on the eve of the case management conference by a three-judge bench picked by Appellate Court President Daniel Musinga on 3 appeals contesting the High Court judgment stopping the BBI process.
Their decisions must consider the letter of the law, but fundamentally, the spirit of the law must also guide them. I say so with all humility because the spirit of the law is the light that will illuminate the burden of the choices that they make.
President Kenyatta opting to prosecute his BBI appeal in the open-air Mamboleo Stadium, blasting the judiciary for what he called unpopular and costly judgments.
For every decision they make, the spirit of the law will lead them to the consequences of their choices. The judiciary should be guided by the spirit of the law, and political stabilization will be easily achieved.
Revisiting the nullified 2017 presidential election results, the president fired a series of salvos at the judiciary for plunging the country into an economic turmoil as a resultant of the toxic political environment that followed, a burden that Kenyans and not the judiciary had to shoulder.
It is a fact that we were losing close to 1 billion shillings every working hour for the 123 days we held the 2017 election. Development programs meant to make a difference in the lives of people had to be shelved.
The judiciary now finds itself at crossroads in the pending appeal on the BBI case, damned if they do, damned if they don't. Should the judges set aside the High Court verdict, the judgment could be deemed to have been procured by the president in his Madaraka Day tirade. And should it rule against the BBI, it could launch a new battlefront between the executive and the judiciary.
If BBI were to be stopped, who carries the burden of choice? On whose shoulders will ethnic majoritarianism rest? And who will carry the burden of losing 30% of our national budget every 5 years due to the toxic politics that BBI sought to resolve?
Deputy President William Ruto, who spoke ahead of the president, putting a case of separation of powers by the 3 arms of government.
A robust legislature, a performing executive, an independent judiciary, and other independent institutions, so that we can all celebrate the firm foundation of the rule of law, not the rule of men.
The president's onslaught on the judiciary coming against the backdrop of the BBI Secretariat, Opposition Chief Raila Odinga and IEBC filing appeals on the BBI High Court judgment. In the application, the promoters of the BBI want the High Court decision quashed, claiming the High Court judges disregarded evidence by the BBI Secretariat as promoters of the referendum push, making a wrong decision that the process was initiated by the president. Equally, Odinga argues that the judges misconstrued the role of the president in the amendment of the supreme law through a popular initiative, thereby arriving at the wrong decision. The president has had several run-ins with the judiciary. Other than threatening the judiciary with a revisit after the Supreme Court's nullification of the 2017 presidential election results, he has declined to appoint the 40 judges nominated by the Judicial Service Commission in 2019. Samogina, Citizen TV, Nairobi.